Welcome to another video tutorial on my SQL workbench. In this tutorial, we are going to look at stored procedures. What are stored procedures? So stored procedures are pre-compiled SQL commands that we can reuse from so many sources. So you can reuse them from other programs or within the database itself. Okay. So mostly you want to create stored procedures when you have so many queries you'll be using often. So if there are queries you'll be using often, you just put them in stored procedures, and then you can always call them. So every time you don't have to write the query again. You simply call the name of that procedure, and it executes the procedure for you. There are a number of benefits for using stored procedure. One is security. Stored procedures prevents, or at least um, makes it difficult for SQL injection attack. So if you are using stored procedure, that will be one of the benefits. They are easy to maintain, and then also stored procedures increases performance. So if you have multiple SQL commands that you are going to send to the server or the database, um, if you put them in stored procedure, then multiple commands will go as a unit. Yeah, but if you don't put them in a stored procedure, they will go as multiple requests, and the more requests you send to your server, the slower the performance. It means you'll be overwhelming your server, and then it is going to slow down the performance, or it's going to affect the performance. Let me put it that way. All right, so that is just by the way. Let's jump straight into my SQL workbench, and then we'll begin to create some stored procedures. But even before that, I want us to create the database. So we are going to use the HR sample database we have in our course page. So let me take you to the course page, week 2 in the course page. Yeah, so we have the HR sample tables. So we want to copy the sample tables first, and then the data itself is up there. So let's get the tables. All right, so you copy the entire code here. So let me copy everything. Okay, so let's get back to the workbench, and then we can paste the entire code here. Alright, so there are some few things we have to do. Normally, you should get rid of the integer sizes, like I indicated previously. They are obsolete, and then you don't want to have them in, because in future they will be removed completely. So let's get rid of them. And make sure you get rid of all the integer sizes. For integer, you don't need to declare the size. Okay, once that is done, then we'll be good to go. So there are quite a number of them. All right, so in the HR sample database, we have 7 tables. Okay. All right, so also there's something to fix here. Go to line 22. There is a comment there. They are using consecutive hyphen, so I think you should change that to C style notation. Change it to C style notation. Okay. All right, so that is that. So I want to believe all is set now. So we can name this file. Okay, let's name this file. Okay, so we'll just call it HR tables. So that is the HR tables. I think I should use underscore, or I'll just make it HR tables straight away, or you can put the underscore there. Okay, so we have HR tables, And then if you execute this, you are going to encounter an error because no database is active. Okay, so I want to create a new database. I don't want to use any of the existing databases in the navigator. So let's open a new script. Then we'll call this script the general script. So let's save it as general. All right, this is the general script, so I'll just make it short gen. All right, so in the general script, we are going to create a database for XYZ company. Okay, so the name of the company is XYZ. So we are going to say um, create database, or you can say schema. It means the same thing. Create schema XYZ. So XYZ, that is the name of the company. So let's put a semicolon. All right, let me zoom it out a bit. Okay, so create schema XYZ, and then we'll execute that. Okay. All right, so when you look at the output, yeah, that is successful. Yeah, so let me drag it up a bit. I believe yeah, that is successful. So we have XYZ there. Let me simply clear everything we have here. All right. Okay, bring it down a bit. So by looking at the navigator, you can't find our XYZ database yet. What we have to do is to simply refresh it, then we have the XYZ. Now the XYZ is there, but it's not active. So to activate it, we say use XYZ. All right. So you can use Control Enter to just execute that. All right, so XYZ is active, and we can see the font is bold compared to what to the rest of what the schemas we have in our database. All right, so now we have activated it. Let's get back to yeah, our tables. We can execute the entire script because we want to create all the tables, and there are no issues with any part of the code. So you can either use Control Shift Enter, or use the first execution button here. So let me hit the button and let's see what happens. So it's already running. It's going to take some few seconds, and then it will be done. So our tables are being created. Okay, that is perfect. Let's get back to the LMS and copy the second part of the code. So let me go back. All right, so what we need is the sample data. Okay, HR sample data. All right, so it's taking us down. All right, we need to go to week 2. That's where the HR sample data is located. Okay, so it's right here. Let me open the sample data. So remember, you have to run the tables before the data. Okay, so now let's copy all the data and get back to the workbench. Open a new script, and then we'll enter the data from the new script. So we can paste whatever we have copied. Yeah, there shouldn't be any issue with it. So with that one, you can execute it straight away. But just name the script before you move on. So we are going to call it HR data. So let's say HR data. All right, so that we'll know that is the HR data being entered, or the script that enters the HR data. Okay, so that is also good. And then let's execute the entire script. So Control Shift Enter. All right, so the data is being entered. You should be patient. This will take some few seconds, and then you'll be done with the data entry. All right, so that is also done. Now we can go to the general script, and then we'll begin to manipulate our data in the database. So let's first start by looking at the tables we have in our database. So you can start by saying show tables. Okay, semicolon, control enter. That will execute it for you. So when you do that, it just executes an instance of it. Okay, just the line you are in, that is what is being executed. There is control enter, then control what shift enter will execute the entire script like what the first execution button. Alright, so now you can see that our tables have been displayed here. We have what 7 tables in what XYZ. Okay. Alright, so now I want to look at the structure of what some of our tables. Let's look at the structure of the employees table. So to do that, you use the describe key here. So describe, you don't have to write it in full. You can write it in full. There's no issue, no problem with that. So describe what employees. All right. So this is the structure of the employee table. So we have what employee ID, first name, last name, and so on to what department ID. So we can what pin this particular results to the tab, yeah, so that we don't have to what always run it every time we need it. Let me also pin what the tables to the tab as well. So pin it to the tab. Okay. Alright, so now I want us to look at our jobs table as well. Okay, so we have department, countries. Okay, let's look at the countries table. The structure of the countries table. So describe countries. Describe countries. Okay, semicolon, control enter. That is going to execute it for us. So this is the countries table as well. Okay, then let's look at what other table do we want to look at? I want us to look at all the tables we may be using. Let's look at the jobs table. Okay, so the structure of the jobs table. So describe jobs. Okay, so let's run that. Okay, this is the jobs tables as well. That is how it looks like. So I want to save the structure of the jobs table. So let me pin it to the tab down here. Okay, so yeah, let's now see the data, the content of our table. So if you want to see the content of your tables, you use what the select statement to do that. So I'm going to select all records in the employees table. So say select, normally the all we use what asterisk, select all from what employees. Okay, so let's execute that. Sorry, it ends with semicolon, and then we execute that. Alright, so this is the employees table, all the records we have in the employees table. But at the moment, okay, I wanted to drag it up a bit. Okay, so this is it. Yeah, so there are so many records. We can look at the number of records we have as well. Okay, so these are just few things I want us to do before we really go towards look at stored procedures. So let's also what count the number of records in the employees table. So select count. Okay, let's pick the second one, select count, and then inside it we are counting employees, so we are either counting their first names or their IDs. Yeah, but because ID is the primary key, it means every record in the table has a primary key, so that will be more appropriate to use for the counts. Alright, so count employees. Okay, so you are using employee ID. Okay, so let's say employee ID, and where are we counting it from? Employee ID is found inside the employees table. So from what employees. This is case sensitive, and then you should just make sure you get the right spelling. Okay, that is very important. So let's execute that as well. All right, so we have 40, but you can see that the title or the heading is not looking good, count employee ID, we don't want that. So we can add an alias here. So as number of employees, so let's put that in, yeah, I think single quotes will do. If it doesn't work, I mean, we change it to double quotes. Number of what employees. Okay, so let's bring the quote once more. All right, so let's execute that. So that is number of employees is what, 40. Okay, so now we are now going to what create a stored procedure. So like I said, stored procedures are pre-compile what SQL statements that you can call to be executed. So the general syntax is usually that you start them with what we call the delimiter. Okay, so the delimiter is just what we use to end our SQL statement. So the semicolon we use is called a delimiter. But in stored procedure, because within the stored procedure we are going to have what delimiters there, it means we can use that delimiter. We have to define our own delimiter. So let's start by what saying delimiter. Okay, what have I done? Okay, so let's say delimiter. Okay, okay, so this is it. So whatever delimiter you want to use, I mean, you put it there. You can use the dollar sign. You can use the percent. You can use the end sign. So let me use two ends. Okay, you can use this. Yeah, then you come to what create the procedure. So we'll say what create procedure. Then you bring the procedure name. So what procedure are we creating? So we want to create a procedure that will what that will display all the records in a particular table. Let's say the employees table. So create procedure all records in employees. So we can make it all records in the employees, all employees. So we can say create procedure all employees. You can use what underscore all employees. Okay, so that is the procedure we are creating. So let's put some brackets here. Then we'll now go down and say begin. Okay, yeah, so we have what indicated that we are creating the procedure. So the procedure should begin here. So let's say begin. Okay, then we'll write the procedure. So what is the SQL command to what to return all records in a table? So we'll say what select. So you just use the same what SQL select statement that we've been using. So let's say select all from employees. So this will select all what records from what employees table. Select all from what employees. Yeah. So then you end it with a semicolon. Okay. And then you have to end it. Okay. We end the delimiter. So we'll say end, and then we'll bring what the delimiter once more. Okay. So the delimiter is two end signs here. Okay. So this is it. Normally in other what in previous versions of MySQL, they will bring what delimiter here at the end. So let's see, they could say another delimiter here, but I've realized that it's not working in this current version. So yeah, so that is how to do it in previous versions, but I've realized that they've removed the delimiter because that delimiter is supposed to end the other delimiter, but the end is already ending it, and then Yeah, so they've realized there is no need, I believe so. So let's see. At the moment, I cannot find any what syntax issue here. So it means we are good to go. And then let's what create it. So we can simply what execute everything, and then our delimiter is created. Oh, okay. Um, yeah, our stored procedure is created. So now you can see that the stored procedure is created, not the delimiter. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, so I should have what created it in a neutral what file. So let me copy it. I should have created it inside the general script. Let me just go to what a new script and then create the procedure there. But because the procedure has already been created, what we can do is that we have to drop the procedure. So you can just drop it. Okay, so once you start with the delimiter, you can say drop all employees if exist. So we can say drop, yeah. So you call the name of what so perhaps drop procedure, drop procedure all employees. Yeah, drop procedure all employees. Okay, so okay, so I think that this shouldn't be inside the delimiter. So upon a second thought, let's take it out of the delimiter. And you can either close this space and then let's bring the delimiter down. So we want it to what first check to see if the procedure exists. If drop procedure if exists. So I think all of that will be what be in the same line. So if what exists, drop procedure if exists. Okay, so let's put the name in quotes. So we've taken what the drop procedure if exists out of what the procedure itself, and then we are putting it in the quotes, and we'll end it with a semicolon. Okay, so let's make it this way. Okay, there is some error somewhere. Okay, so I think maybe we can remove what then the quotes. All right, so we shouldn't put the quotes there. That's fine. Okay, now let's modify the name a bit. So employees, we can say employees XYZ. So employees of what XYZ underscore XYZ is a, okay. So we're going to make the modification here as well. Okay. All right. So this is going to what? It's XYZ rather. Okay, so if we execute this, it's going to create another what procedure called all employees XYZ. Okay, or you can make it all employees in what XYZ. So, or you can just say all employees. But I think you should make what the name of the procedure shorter, but yeah, definitive. So it should reflect the procedure itself. Okay. All right, so let's execute the entire code here. Okay, so I think yeah, it's good. The procedure all employees in XYZ has been created. So now we can go to the general file here and call what our procedure. You can simply call the procedure from what the general file. Let me uh, close this part. Okay, so let's see call all employees all employees in XYZ. So let's say XYZ. So semicolon. So let's execute that. Alright, so you can see that it has brought us what all employee. Okay, there is some error there. um, okay, so let me, oh, I didn't bring the S. Okay, so call all employees in XYZ. So you should even what bring a bracket here. Okay, so let's execute it once more. Okay, so this is it. You can see that the procedure has been executed and all employees in XYZ they have been called. Okay, let me raise it a bit. So these are all the employees we have in what XYZ company. All right. So that is our first procedure we have created, and it has called what all employees in XYZ. So when you go to what XYZ, you see that after we created the procedure, there is what stored procedures there. Okay, but if we look at the rest of it, okay, um, let me look at UPSA. All right, so they all have stored procedures. It means I've created stored procedures earlier in all of them. Yeah. All right. So let me refresh it. Okay, so once you refresh it, you can see the procedures names. So the two procedures we created were what yeah, all employees and all employees in XYZ. So let's drop one of the procedures. Let's go here to the general script. So let's say drop procedure all employees. So once we drop it, that procedure is going to disappear. All right, let's execute that. So all employees has been dropped. So if we go towards the navigator, you realize that under what the XYZ schema and under stored procedures, we only have what one procedure there now. All employees in XYZ. Um, all others have been dropped. Okay. Okay, so that is how to create a procedure and how to drop a procedure. Okay, so this is a simple procedure. So let me create one more procedure before I end this session, and then I'll come back later. You know, in procedures, we can also pass in arguments. So that is to say, we can enter some values that will be executed in the procedure. Okay, so but let me do another example with what a simple procedure before we go to more complex procedures. All right, so let's create a new script. So this time we want to um, write an SQL what procedure that is going to select all employees learn. Okay, so let me see. It's going to what count all employees in, yeah, each department. So we want to count all employees in each department. So let's start by saying delimiter. Delimiter. Okay, so this time our delimiter, let's use what yeah, a different delimiter for our delimiter. So let's say create procedure. Okay, let me zoom it out a bit. Okay, create procedure. Okay, so employee um, we want to get employees that are earning low salary. So we can say employees earning low salary or low. Uh, yeah. So you need to find something suitable. So let's say yeah, low paid employees. So let's say low paid employees. So if that is something we can see, or if you want to say poorly paid employees, okay, so low paid employees, and then we are going to put the brackets here and go to the next line. So here you don't put a comma, a semicolon, you just begin your procedure. So let's say begin. Okay, let's now write the procedure. So to okay, so we are beginning our procedure, and then we are going to select the low paid employees. So we are going to say select um, yeah, so the low paid employees, are we going to select all the fields? So we perhaps we want to know their first name, last name. Yeah, so let me look at the general script here. So let's see, employees. This is the employees table. So we want their first name, last name, phone number, salary, department, and job ID. So these are the fields we want to select. First name, last name, phone number, perhaps let's say higher date, yeah, salary, yeah, higher date salary. So let's just select some of them and not everything. Okay. So we are going to select first name, then last name, okay, higher date, then phone number. So you just have to make sure the headings are right. Phone number. Let's put salary here. Then department ID. Okay, so department ID. I think these are the fields we want to select. So yeah, so which table they found? So from let's bring the table. The table is what employees. So now let's give a condition. The condition is that their salary is very low. Okay, so very low. Let's say probably is less than 5,000. Okay, so where salary is less than what 5,000. Okay, so we can now what close that. Okay, perhaps there is no need for the space here. Okay, so now yeah. So the next thing we can do is to end it. So and then we want them to order it. Okay, so let's say order it. So order by salary, and then we want it to be what from the top to the bottom. So even though they are low paid what salary earners, we still want it from what the top to the bottom. Okay, so let's see so salary, then we'll say what descending. Yeah, so it should be in descending order, and then we also want to limit it to what just 5. Okay, limit 5. Okay, let's end it here. So end, and then I think we should bring that limiter once more. Okay, so this is how it should be now in my SQL workbench. Alright, so let's create this particular procedure. So I'm going to execute the entire code here. So this one doesn't exist, so we don't need to say if it exists. Okay, so let's just create it. We need to look at the output here. Okay, so procedure low paid employees has been created successfully. So it means if we refresh this, we are going to see what low paid employees as part of what the stored procedures in what XYZ database. Alright, so now we can call this particular one. We can call this particular procedure anywhere. We can call it anywhere within this database or outside this database from other programs or in other languages as well. We can do all of that. Alright, so I'm going to call it from what just the general script. Okay, so let's see, call. So you simply bring the name. So now we don't have to write the entire code. With calling, you just call and then you bring the name of it. Okay, so let's execute that here. Okay, so now it has brought us what all the employees earning less than what 5,000, and then their department, their first names, their phone numbers, and their hire date. So that is what another stored procedure we have created. Okay, so is the tutorial is getting too long. I'm going to stop it here. It's too late even, and then I'll create a procedure that takes parameters tomorrow for you. Yes. So until then. I'll appreciate if you subscribe to this channel. Then you can also like the video, turn on the notification icon, so that anytime we make videos like this, you can be notified. So thank you, and then I'll appreciate your subscriptions to the channel so that I can grow the channel. Okay, bye.